Hi, this is Lily, and we're making a necklace. This is a necklace that I did see online 4 years ago. I will, but it was in a different language. So this is my interpretation of that particular necklace. I will try my best to find it and link it below. But I just wanted to be truthful. This was not my design. Um, what we're going to start with to make the whole necklace, you're going to need approximately 4 yards of thread or fishing line. And because this necklace is going to be a little heavy, I'm using 10-pound tests. Okay. And also, for my beads, normally I start done with seed beads. These are 8/0 seed beads, and I recommend if you use seed beads to buy a big long tube like this. Uh, This happens to be bead treasures, but you can use any kind of seed beads. Tahoes are really good ones. There's a lot of brands. What is it? Mayuki. There's a lot of brands of seed beads, but you need an 8/0, and if you don't like to make it really big, you could use 11/0. But I personally think for what I'm doing, it's 8/0 works better. But if I was doing it with seed beads, with this one, I have done one with seed beads. But this one I am doing with 8mm bicones. 8mm bicones and 4mm bicones. The 4mm bicones, this is taking the place of my seed beads, which can be rather expensive if you're using those. But I had these beads on hand and I wanted red, so there you go. And you're going to need approximately, if you're using these for the 4mm for seed beads, you're going to need about 500 of them. That's why I said it could be kind of pricey. And the 8mm, you're going to need, or you could use 6mm. And you also could use a round bead. I just chose to use these. Or you could use a rondelle, like a 6x8 rondelle would work also. And you're using approximately 200 of those. So let's get started. I also am using a big-eyed needle. And I like these needles. They get bent up, but I don't worry about that. They still work. It's because the whole middle of the needle, oops, the whole middle of the needle is the eye. And sometimes it takes a little something to open them up. But there's let's see if this one is better. This one, I can see the hole, but can I get in there? It takes a little patience, but you can't open them up. And just because I'm recording this, I'm having a hard time. I had this open earlier, but we're just going to be patient. Here we go. The whole middle. The whole middle is open, so you can see that. It's hard to see. Let's give you something to put it against. See the whole thing. So both ends are the needle and the whole middle is the thread. So you open it up like I just had it, and you put your fishing line through. I am really doing this video for my students because we had a class this semester and we weren't able to finish, and we all live in different parts of the city, so this would be the easiest way for me to get them on board with this. So I just threaded my needle and I leave a little tail, and what I like to do is kind of crease that tail, kind of crease it so it stays. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pick up seven of these little tiny 4mm bicones. That's how we're starting. And the other thing I like to do is have a bead that doesn't match anything and put it on the bottom. So today I'm going to use this bead. It matches, but it's not part of my thing yet. So what we're going to do is put 7 beads on. One. Okay, let's just take these off so you can see. I'll just redo. Sometimes they like to jump around. You can also, I like to do mine like that, but you can also pick the bead up like this and feel where the hole is and stick it in there. But this works better usually for me when I'm not recording, of course. And count and make sure I have 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7. And I pull these beads all the way down to the end. And I leave about, I'm going to leave about a 5-inch tail. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end of this thread down here, because I don't want my beads to fall off. So I'm going to go up through, I'm going to thread on this bead, which right now doesn't have, it's a totally different shape from what I'm doing. And I pull it down and leaving myself about 6 inches or so. And then I'm going to go back through the bottom of this bead. But if you had I'm making this a bead stop, but you could also use a bead stop, which I don't have one right now. Or you could use something just to make sure that your beads doesn't go all the way down. And see if you can move it. If you can move it, then go ahead and do that same step again. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let them fall all the way down to that, and they won't come off. And after we have those on, now we're going to work with making our right angle weave. We're going to use the 4. You might have to zoom in on this. We're going to use get 4 of these 8mm bicons, and they're just as hard to put, or hard or easy, depending on what you decide to put on. But you put on 4 of them. And you let them drop down to the little beads. This is what you have. These are the 4mm. These are the 8mm. And what you're going to do is I'm separating them a little bit so you can see. Here, I'm going to take the needle and separate this bead out from all the rest of them. And I'm going to go down through that bead. And I'm going to pull my thread all the way through. pulling it all the way through. I'm trying to make sure I'm pulling it down to, keeping it down here close to, then I just pull it, pulling it, and this is what I wind up with. This is your little flower, little thing. So now I lay this back down, and you pick up 7 more of these little ones, or these, remember these could also be seed beads, and you put these on. And if you're making a necklace, you want to make 14 of these little flower like things I just made. 14 or 15, it depends on, it would depend on the size that you want to put around your neck, or if you're making it for someone else. Also, it depends on the size beads you use. But I said 14 to 16 should be good enough. So, and you just you make sure you keep your count. Usually I separate my beads out into what I'm going to use. Like, for instance, I'll have 4 of the big beads there. I'll just call them big beads and little beads. And I'll have 7 of the little beads there until I get all the beads that I need. Okay. Sometimes you see the hole and you just can't go in there. And picking up these beads and trying to put them on one by one, for me, it's a little harder. So 2, 4, 6. I just need that one. Where did it go? Okay. Okay. Now I have those. Trying to get my hand out of the way. I have those 7 beads on, and I let them drop down to here, and we count and make sure to. I missed a bead. 2, 4, 6. I missed a bead. Here it is. I thought it was part of the string, but it was not. I'm going to try to do it this way, but okay. So now I've dropped them down like this, and now you're going to pick up your 4. You can bring them closer to you. The 4. These are your bigger beads. Now you can experiment with different size beads. You might not like it as big as I am going to make mine. And then again, you might want to use bigger beads, because some of my students use bigger beads, some of them use smaller beads, and it worked out. It's going to be pretty either way, but it's your preference. I like to give you an idea and let you finish the design work yourself. But if you need me to, I can assist you. Okay. So far, this is what we have. We have one of these little flowerette things here. These little right angle weave. And we have 4 more on. And remember I said, what we're going to do, if you are holding it up in your hand, let's see if I can hold it. If you were holding it in your hand to do it, you would go up through the first big bead that's next to all the little beads. You would go up through this one. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, I did it. Okay. And you would hold the thread and just pull it through. And I like to have it wrap around my finger a lot of times, because that keeps the knot from coming. And then you got to make sure you're keeping it down here close to these other beads. And if it doesn't go down there right away, just kind of play around with the beads. So now we have two of these little things. And if you're making a bracelet, you won't need as many, but you measure your wrist and then you can figure it out by measuring the beads. But each time there's 7, 4, 7, 4. That is your pattern. And you're going to continue to do that until you get down to the 14 of these, up to 16 of these, depending on what you prefer. And I'm going to continue to do this, and then I'm going to come back.